So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's discovery session. These sessions are meant to support students, businesses, and other organizations with an understanding of how to use data and artificial intelligence. Before we get started, I would like to begin by acknowledging that DeepSense works out of Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and this territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship. I would also like to acknowledge the Indigenous people whose traditional lands we are on today and ask that everyone take a moment to consider the territory in which they are situated, as well as their own personal responsibility in the processes of reconciliation. So, my name is Brogan, and I'm the Communications and Events Coordinator at DeepSense. And for those of you who don't know, DeepSense is an organization based out of Dalhousie in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And even though our home is Dalhousie, we actively partner with universities and colleges across Atlantic Canada. And our focus is working with companies in the ocean sector who want to leverage data to create a stronger and more sustainable ocean economy. We connect these companies with the next generation of AI, machine learning, and data experts, aka our students, and together we design projects tailored to the specific needs of the company and then match them with a student who will execute the project. And these opportunities can take the form of master's research, co-ops, or internships. And past projects have covered a wide range of topics, including data analytics, collection, visualization, cleaning, and processing, as well as everyone's favorite, AI and machine learning. And projects can range from developing deep learning models to track fish populations, to building predictive models for safe navigation in the Halifax Harbor, or even creating computer algorithms to identify whale shapes from aerial images. So if you are looking to expand your skills, work on some real world projects, and gain valuable industry experience, be sure to submit your information to our student pool, and I'll include the link in the chat for that later. And projects, internships, co-ops come up throughout the year. So it's a great idea to get your name in early because it's the first place we look when filling positions. And if you submit your resume and then you get some more cool experience and want to update it, you can always resubmit, and we always go with your most recent resume. Now, for today's session, so this discovery session will cover the use of AI and computer vision for detecting underwater objects with side scan sonar and other marine imagery. And Andrew will discuss his journey with starting OceanAid and the potential for AI to transform ocean industries. So you'll get to learn about how AI-powered real-time technology can help tackle ghost gear, boost marine efficiency, and support ocean sustainability. So Andrew will be leading our session, and he grew up in Toronto, but would fly out to fish with his grandparents each summer on Vancouver Island, where he fell in love with being out on the water. He then moved to Victoria to study software engineering at UVic, and upon graduating, he co-founded an ocean tech startup called OceanAid. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, we'll take them at the end, but feel free to drop them in the chat at any point during the presentation. I'm sure you don't want to hear from me anymore, so now I'll pass it along to Andrew.
Thank you so much, Brogan, for that lovely introduction. And it's great to be here today, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen and we'll be off. So, all right. And if that's all working, I'll jump right in. Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm the CEO and co-founder of OceanAid, and we provide real-time marine intelligence. Before I get started, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge that we work on the traditional territories of Lekwungen and Wasanic peoples, and it's really a priority of ours to, with ocean restoration and ocean technology development, to really work with and learn from First Nations whose relationship with the land and waters continue to this day. And we'd also like to acknowledge personally Bear River First Nation, Lac Kw'alaams First Nation, and all the other First Nations that have helped us out on our journey and helped us become the company who we are today. So a bit about OceanAid. We're an ocean tech company based out of Victoria, BC, on the beautiful Vancouver Island on the west coast of Canada. We have been operating for about a year and a half since 2023, and we specialize in developing automatic target recognition systems, or ATR systems, that enhance marine imaging like sonar, LiDAR, video, and we'll get into that today. We develop software solutions and also are developing hardware that kind of optimize that real-time detection to provide more comprehensive data while you're out there on the water so you can make more informed decisions. And our mission, I guess, is really to provide and create cleaner, healthier, and safer ocean ecosystems for the next generation. And we try to align with all the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, but in particular, goals 9, 13 for climate action, life below water, life on land, and of course, partnerships for all the goals. And a bit about myself, as mentioned, I actually grew up in Toronto, so I wasn't always a West Coast guy. But ever since I was 5, I would fly out to Vancouver Island and go fishing with my grandfather up near Port McNeill, so right at the tip of the island. And we'd fish for 2 weeks each summer in August as the salmon run came through. And it was my favorite 2 weeks of the year. Also my brother's favorite 2 weeks of the year. And we would go wake up at 5 in the morning out of my grandpa's camper van and get out on the boat in the fog, and really had so many amazing experiences out there. Caught countless amounts of fish, but also saw countless amounts of whales and learned a ton about the ocean from being out there on the water. And it turned into kind of a passion of mine to be out there on the water. And I ended up moving out to Victoria to study software engineering at the University of Victoria. And when I graduated, I really wanted to bring my software skills to help solve ocean problems. And I'll get into, I guess, the research that started me on this journey. But I'd like to start by talking a little bit about AI, about computer vision, and about marine imaging, because in hopes that there's some students that might not be as fluent in computer science, but also can have a better understanding of marine imaging. So I guess, start with, what is AI? Well, it's everywhere right now. Many people think of AI as ChatGPT or these large language models, or generative AI making images, but AI is much broader than that. It can do so many different tasks, and essentially it's algorithms and technology that enable machines to kind of simulate human-like intelligence. They are algorithms that help these machines learn and start solving problems similar to the way humans do. And there's tons of types of AI. The one I'm going to focus on today is computer vision, which is basically a branch of AI that enables machines to interpret and analyze visuals and basically detect different images in those videos and visual streams. So with AI, there's really 2 ways that you can go about training an AI model, and we'll get into one of those today. The first one is unsupervised learning, and the second one is supervised learning. Unsupervised, you don't have, I guess the main difference is, for unsupervised, there's no human involvement in the training process, whereas with supervised, there's a human that needs to actually go through the data and help label what the data is to help the AI understand what it's looking for. So to jump into computer vision, basically a computer vision model is essentially a neural network. And one of the most popular neural networks right now is a convolution neural network, or a CNN. And this neural network is trained on thousands of images with different instances of what the model is trying to detect for. For this case, it's fruit. So if you pretend this neural network, which is essentially nodes and weights of different paths between these nodes, and that creates the network. And for this case, you'd be given different fruit that can go through the model, and it would be able to detect the different types of fruit, give it prediction, and the confidence in that prediction. And the confidence is kind of key because it tells you how confident that AI model is in the detection. So you can actually set a confidence threshold for the level of confidence you want to have. And to get into a bit about how to train these models for supervised learning, you need a large data set of images labeled by humans. So it's an image and a corresponding text file in the format that your AI can understand. So you'd have to have thousands of images potentially, and images of each instance of the object you're looking to detect for. For the fruit case, it would be you'd need many instances of apples, of the kiwis, of the bananas, so that it understands all the different cases. And once you have this large data set, which is a process in itself to create a kind of diverse data set, but once you have this data set, you can use kind of the general rule of thumb of splitting the data up into a training data set, a validation data set, and a testing data set. And generally, a good rule of thumb is a 70-20-10 split. I'm sure many of you have heard this before, where you have 70% of your data as the training data, 20% as the validation, and 10 as the testing. And essentially the process for training is that 70% would be passed through the AI neural network many times. So it would go through one pass, and that would be called one epoch. And after the first epoch, or after each epoch, it would test out the accuracy and the metrics based on the 20% validation set. And what you'll start to see as many of these epochs go by is that hopefully your accuracy is increasing and your metrics are getting better and better. So there can be hundreds of epochs depending on your data set and kind of the complexity of your model. But eventually what you'll see is your model will get more and more accurate, and then it'll start to get less accurate. And this is actually happens every time. And it's called overfitting. So you want to get to the point where your accuracy is the highest, and you don't want to overfit your data. So you want to stop before it kind of gets starts going down in accuracy. So that's a general overview about AI. There's so much more to it, but just to give you a quick understanding for those who might not be in computer science. For training, I guess there's lots of models, open source models that you can use. They have different licenses and abilities. I guess the main two right now, you only look once, or YOLO, is a big algorithm for real-time detection. Ultra Analytics actually has tons of these models, and they're very popular. They provide real-time detection with kind of limiting computing. Detectron 2 is a big one, developed by Meta, or formerly Facebook, and it's great for segmentation, also very fast and can provide real-time detection. TensorFlow and Keras we use them a lot as well. It's great for building your own neural networks, and has tons of resources for training and building different AI models. PyTorch is a big one too, for working with Python, and gives lots of libraries and solutions for working with AI. So for the data labeling side of things, so you're actually have your raw data and you're looking to create a data set, there's lots of options that you can go about. RoboFlow is probably one of the most popular. Allows you to actually label your data, augment your data, create different training data sets, and it's actually free. as long as you open source your data set after. Keely is another one, allows you to label your data. You can collaborate with others on Keely. I actually use Keely a lot and highly recommend it. CVAT's another one that's popular. And I guess for training tips, try to research as much about your project and the application before you start, I guess, collecting data. See what other mistakes people made and also successes. Get to know your data. I guess that's the biggest one for me. Try to look into understanding your data as much as possible. And what that looks like is actually going through your data. You have to have an understanding of how to detect the object uh, so that you can communicate that understanding with the AI model. And especially if you're getting data from an open source data set. So RoboFlow actually has a RoboFlow universe, which there's tons of open source data on. And often the labels and the data from these open source data sets can have issues with it. They can have duplicates, they can have mislabeled objects. And I guess that comes to the next point of prioritize label quality. I guess 90% of the work is creating a data set that's a quality, has diverse examples of the instances you're looking to detect in the diverse conditions that it needs to be detected in. And that can also bring me to augment. You can augment the data to simulate these different environments and make it more accurate overall. And then I guess just go for it. Start small, train as much as you can and track your metrics and learn from that how to kind of optimize. So getting into marine imaging now, we're getting into the ocean, don't worry. There's tons of marine imaging that kind of goes on the boat, but also helps marine missions have a better understanding of what's out there in the ocean. The one that we've worked the most with is with sonar. There's two real types of sonars. There's passive sonars that listens for sound in the ocean or even above the ocean. But there's the other one that's active sonars, and they actually emit these pulses of sound waves into the water and listen to the echoes. And these pulses, we call them pings of sound. And basically, based on the time it takes for those pings to come back and the intensity, you can create an image from that. And there's many types of active sonars. I guess the main one that's been around for, well, since I've known since I was a kid, is fish finders. So when I was out there on the water with my grandfather, we had this big box. I'd love looking for the little fish and be like, Grandpa, there's a fish. And so that's down imaging in a way that it just goes directly down under the boat, used to find the depth. Usually that's the main use case, but also can detect stuff in the water column. And these down imaging fish finders getting better and better. Now they usually come with the triple threat of down imaging, chirp, which is also a form of down imaging that sends multiple frequencies to get different types of responses and smaller fish, and also side scan sonar. So a lot of fish finders come with that 3 triple option. And side scan sonar is an awesome type of sonar. Instead of pinging sound directly down, it pings it at an angle. And this creates a large swath, as we call it, of the bottom. It's primarily used to map the bottom. And the cool thing is it gives you a very clear photo of the bottom. And we'll go into these photos today to give you an understanding of what side scan data looks like. But the thing is, it can't go down as deep as your traditional down imaging or multi-beam. Because it's at an angle, it relies on that response to come back. And if you're too high above the ocean, you won't, above the surface of the ocean, you won't get that response. So it's great, depending on the sonar, to be within that 30 to 60 foot above the sea floor area. So that's why side scan can be hull mounted on the boat, but for surveying deeper areas, you actually have to tow it on a cable at that level above the sea floor to get that crisp image. And those are called towfish. And they're pretty fun to use. And yeah, I guess multi-beam is another widely used one for surveying and mapping the sea floor, but also the water column. And it's usually a little bit more expensive. They can be forward facing or down facing. They provide that large swath and can go much deeper than side scan sonars. They provide 3D point cloud data rather than the traditional, I guess, 2D image a side scan would provide. And it's kind of bathymetric mapping. And then the last type is synthetic aperture sonar, or SAS, which I won't get into too much, but there's tons of amazing work being done by Kraken and these companies to provide this synthetic aperture sonar, which is a lot crazy resolution of the seafloor, and can go down like thousands of meters as well. So a lot of awesome work being done in sonar. We don't design any sonars ourselves. We're more focused on enhancing this sonar data in real time. And other marine types, so LiDAR can also be used underwater, but due to the salinity and the turbulence in the water, it can't go as deep. I guess it's used widely above the water for creating kind of a 3D point cloud of the surroundings. Video's used a lot on vessels for tons of applications, and we actually used it in an application recently to map shoreline plastics. Infrared used on a lot of boats, or FLIR cameras, a lot of you may know them as, but these systems can help you see objects at night, can help you get that thermal response when it's not clear what you're looking at. So it really helps with seeing other boats and transport. I guess like when you're actually driving your boat on the water, having an understanding of the surroundings, which is also what radar is used for out there. Hyperspectral image and acoustic image as well, which is similar to passive sonar, but I put it up there because there's a lot of cool work being done with acoustic imagery and using AI to detect different sounds in the water, like whale sounds and also boat sounds. So tons of marine imaging, tons of opportunity to kind of integrate AI to enhance these imaging. Now back to where we are at OceanAid. So when I started researching, when I graduated about 2 years ago, I started getting into ocean plastics. And I quickly found out that the deadliest form of ocean plastic is ghost fishing gear. It's abandoned or lost or discarded nets, traps, and ropes that kill 5 to 30% of harvestable fish globally. They kill endangered species like whales and turtles. They turn into microplastics as they break down and enter the food chain, and they're everywhere. Actually, 70% of macroplastic in the ocean is ghost fishing gear. So it's a massive problem, and the current methods of locating these objects are actually costly, they're time consuming, and they're reliant on experts. And we kind of found that this is actually a problem for a lot of different underwater detections. Using divers and ROVs can't really provide a long range, or they're costly. And sonar can cover a much larger range, but needs an expert to kind of interpret that data. And I guess to talk about the broader challenges with marine imaging before I get more into ghost gear. Oh, sorry, there's actually a ghost gear slide. This image is an image that we worked with Bear River First Nation, where they did a project in the Annapolis Basin, and I was blown away to see the amount of lost traps there. And every time I see this photo or go through the data, it brings up a lot of emotion because you see these traps and they actually continuously fish, because as the lobsters and uh, crabs and different animals enter these abandoned traps, they eventually will die. They'll almost fight for their life in this gladiator-like coliseum, and eventually they will die, and their remains will attract more shellfish and fish to enter that trap. And it's the same with lost nets, and ropes are deadly as well. So it really continuously fishes until it's retrieved or until it breaks down into microplastics. So a huge problem, not just on the east coast of Canada, but globally. And we need more effective solutions to kind of solve this issue. And I guess this brings us to the challenges of, because the ocean's just so massive, it's really hard to manage and monitor marine objects like ghost fishing gear. And essentially, we can't manage what we can't see. So I guess at OceanAid, that's one of our missions, to make these invisible objects visible again, and also communicate these problems that are out there in the ocean with other people. So in hopes that they can do research and help see that this is a real problem that needs to be solved. So in general, detecting objects rely on expert interpretation. And this manual detection and data entry is very labor intensive. It's very inefficient. So especially while you're out there on the boat, captains and crew can often visually miss objects on the sonar as they're overloaded with tasks. And there's a lack of real-time automatic detections and comprehensive insights while you're out there on the water. So we kind of want to set out to try to solve these challenges, and especially in fisheries, ocean restoration, and transportation. So what we went out to do is we started and we created a cutting edge automatic target recognition system, or ATR system, that connects with marine imaging. So side scan sonar, but also with video and LiDAR to automatically detect, classify, and map locations of objects, to reduce the cost of marine monitoring, increase detection accuracy, fully automate the data collection process, and do it in real time on the boat so you can have more efficient marine missions. And we've kind of worked with primarily in ocean restoration. So we have Marlin ATR, which actually detects for ghost fishing gear, so nets, traps, and ropes. We're also developing a model for derelict vessels and planes, and we're looking to enter the fisheries market as well for more efficient fisheries management. And then we've also done a project with Eagle ATR, which works with aerial video to detect surface plastics, so debris and plastics on the shorelines, for efficient beach cleanups. And I'd love to talk about that. That's a project we worked with a Deep Sense student, and was an amazing opportunity. I guess a bit about our ATR systems. As I mentioned, Marlin ATR, I guess, pairs with side scan sonar. We're also working to scale it to work with multi-beam as well. And it's detected thousands of ghost fishing traps and ropes, and also derelict vessels and planes. And we're also looking to detect for fish as well, coming soon. And Eagle ATR is a model that works with drone video to detect and classify shoreline marine objects and provide that heat map and information about the debris on community shorelines so that they can go out and do efficient targeted cleanups. And I guess I didn't really talk too much about what you were seeing in that side scan sonar image. So I'm going to get to that soon, but I just want to talk about how we allow customers to kind of purchase and integrate our ATR system. The main one is we want to provide that real-time detection on the vessel. And to do that, you actually have to have the processing capabilities and the hardware to do that. So we've been prototyping and designing what we call our Marlin series boxes, which have different chips and power levels, but they're based off NVIDIA's Jetson Orin and latest chips to provide different trillions of operations per second. That's tops. So right now we're trying to commercialize our T40 box to get it out on your everyday fishing vessel. But we also are looking to have a more commercial option that provides over 800 tops and has that even more split-second detection needed on some boats. Other than that, you can also provide us data through our API, and we can do post-mission detection, or you can download our app that will be on either Windows or Linux laptop, and you can do the detection on your own. Simply put, we connect to the imaging stream through Ethernet, and we provide the detections out on a screen and a map, so you have the best ability to kind of make decisions based on your understanding of the data. There's really tons of opportunities for ATR applications, and we've done over 150 customer discovery interviews, and we've found that not just with ghost gear, but there's lots of needs to, I guess, detect automatically objects to make it more efficient. Fisheries is a big one as well, and there's already work being done in enumerating salmon going up rivers and using AI to automatically detect for fish. Finding wrecks is something that we've had the pleasure of doing work with, and I have a few images of some wrecks that we went out and tested our model with. Also planes, so being able to go out and detect a sunken vessel as soon as possible so that we can mitigate the damage to the environment and increase the safety in that area as soon as possible. Search and rescue is another big one where you can use AI with marine imaging, whether it's above water or using sonar below water to help with search and rescue operations. Collision avoidance. So in BC here, we have tons of deadhead logs in the water, which is basically just floating logs. Sometimes these logs can get saturated with water. Instead of lying perpendicular like this, they lie vertically straight up in the water, and sometimes only a small bit of that log is showing, and it's very hard to detect as just with visually, especially in fog and especially at night, and it can cause damage to your engine, to your vessel, and it's a safety concern. So being able to detect for deadhead logs and other potential collisions while you're out there on the water is a big application. Whale monitoring, there's applications that actually are using LiDAR now, and they can detect the sprays of the blows of the whale as they provide an infrared signal. But and this is a huge use case, especially out there on the east coast of Canada with the North Atlantic right whale as an endangered species right now. Resource detection, so detecting for different earth metals and resources underwater is a huge application for this technology. Um, Scientific research, um, especially when it comes to understanding the sea floor and having, for instance, measuring the biodiversity of a certain area. Um, Infrastructure inspection, detecting for faults in cables and pipelines, as well as aquaculture, uh, especially seaweed and eelgrass and bull kelp. You can see it all on side scan sonar and be able to automatically detect and measure the abundance. Is a big application that we're actually hoping to do some work on as well. I guess the biggest application that's been widely used for ATR system is UXO detection, unexploded ordnance, or mine detection. Basically, there's tons of these um, unexploded shells and mines from the wars that are in the ocean that can cause drastic damage to a ship and its crew if it gets hit. So to be able to have an early detection for these UXOs is crucial. And obviously lots of opportunities in defense as well. So moving on to some of our detections. So we went out just off Sydney. There's in BC, this organization called the Artificial Reef Society of BC, and they sink vessels and planes as dive sites, and they have these locations widely known on the internet, so divers can go out and check out these vessels. And we went out with our side scan yellowfin towfish sonar that Imagenics lent us, and we went out and tested and detected this vessel, which was awesome to do and kind of validate our technology. This is the GB Church. So what you're seeing here is actually the side scan, which would go right through the center of the image. And to the left and right of that, you start seeing the bottom of the ocean. It gets a little dark here because this is actually as the ping of sound would go through the water column, and then it would start kind of getting a signal as it hits the metal of this boat, but also the bottom of the ocean. So you were able to see to the left and the right of that towfish sonar going through the water. And for this case, we're detecting an instance of a vessel and at a 92% confidence. So very high for this ship because it has that strong signal and it's kind of a clear shape that it's actually one of our most accurate models, our underwater vessel and plane model. So here's another vessel. This is the HMCS Mackenzie. It's an even bigger vessel here, a destroyer escort. It's around over 100 meters long. It was basically built in 1962 and also sunk by the Artificial Reef Society. And here you can see a similar image where you have the water column in dark here. The sonar would go through this center line, and to the left and right of that, you have a bit of water column, and then the bottom of the ocean would start on either side. And you'll actually see the vessel is standing almost straight up. You'll see two vessels here, but this is actually just one vessel. It's kind of a mirrored image of the bottom of the ocean, the water column to either side of the side scan sonar. So that's why you get kind of a dual image. Side scan sonar generally has two channels, so it's actually almost two separate images that are put together, where you have the left channel, which is the transducer that pings sound to the left of the sonar, and then the right channel, which is the right transducer. And together they make this image. And basically, there's tons of pings, and each ping would be one perpendicular horizontal line of this image. And when it's put together all those pings of sound, it kind of makes this image here. And you can see that this basically we're going straight over this uh, vessel with our sonar, and that's why it comes up mostly in the water column. Here's another example of a side scan sonar image that we took of the HMCS Mackenzie. I kind of just took all the text off so you could give a clear image of what you're seeing here. And you can see again that we went pretty much straight over this vessel, and you actually see the shadow of this vessel. And that's because as the sound pings off the vessel, that sound doesn't reach the bottom of the ocean and actually comes back and provides a shadow of that. And it's really cool to see just all the components of this ship are still intact and still standing up there. So here's a image of Sydney Harbor, and I wanted to share this because we originally detected these as traps early on when we did our scanning. It came back as traps, I think around a 60% confidence, most of these. And they kind of look like traps, but actually they're reef balls. So it's kind of a learning lesson for us that when you're working with AI, there's always going to be objects that may look similar to what you're trying to detect, and it's going to have these false positives. And it's important to understand that and be able to actually work and try to train your AI so that it knows what it's looking for with these reef balls and other objects. Another example of this is when we're detecting for ropes. So this is some data we took from our Hummingbird hull-mounted side scan sonar, and this is up in Alert Bay, actually, where I used to go fishing. And we would detect for ropes, and basically these bull kelp, which you can see here, clearly they actually would be misclassified as ropes. So we had to go through our data and start labeling bull kelp so that the models had an understanding of bull kelp versus ropes. And finally, I just want to talk a little bit about the shoreline cleanup project we did with Lac Wallams, which was working with drone imaging to automatically detect for plastics, to have a more understanding of what types of plastics are on the shoreline, but also be able to do targeted cleanups. And this is a video that I made before the cleanup. So this isn't actually data from Lac Wallams, but kind of show you a bit about how it can automatically classify these objects that would take long period of time and extensive labor for a human to go through and I guess manually detect and map these objects. So I think it was a great opportunity to work with them and kind of showed them the power of integrating AI into their work, and they're really excited to, I guess, integrate AI into future projects. So a bit about our team. Well, it's myself and Archit as the co-founders. We actually met at university and started working together, developing software solutions. And we started this schedule where we'd meet once per day ever since second year, from 5 to 6. And we just develop apps. We develop different software solutions and AI integrations, and it was just to learn. And I guess that's also a passion of ours, to develop and problem solve. And we also have Sophie, who's also from UVic, as our operations director, helping us find amazing opportunities and grants. And then Kishan, who's actually a Deep Sense co-op student of ours, who worked on the plastic project, has joined our team, and we're looking to grow our team and hire more co-op students, possibly in the summer, on an exciting fish monitoring project. So if you're interested, let me know or let Deep Sense know, and I'd love to connect with you. I guess what we're looking for is we're looking to get funding to build our team, to scale our technology and collaborate and I guess make an impact. And this is actually a humpback whale that was breaching near our boat. Pretty amazing to see. The mother actually breached right before this, and you can see her tail going down, and the baby came and copied. So that's why I love the ocean, and would love to kind of share that passion with you, and I guess share our vision of becoming a global leader in marine monitoring technology to support cleaner, healthier, and safer oceans for the next generation, so that hopefully you can go out with your grandchildren on the ocean, and I can go out with mine, and they can fall in love with the ocean just like I did. Yeah, I'd love to answer any questions. Um, Feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to kind of talk more about my journey, and see if you have any questions. My email's here, and also my phone number. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. That was a really amazing presentation, and I think everyone could learn something from that. And I loved your experience relating to how you fell in love with the ocean and with the humpbacks breaching, especially too, because I know that was what like really amazed me too, seeing like the breaches for the first time. It's like an incredible experience that you can't describe. So
Yeah,
that's really great.
yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's one of my favorite experiences out there on the water. I've been lucky enough to see tons of whales, but to have like experiences like those, it's like it looked into my soul. I saw its eye, and it's like help. I don't know. It's just like that made me think that I'm where I should be. And yeah, thanks for that.
Absolutely. Does anyone have any questions for Andrew? While people are typing questions in the chat, I'll maybe ask you. I was wondering what the most challenging aspect of starting your company was and how you overcame that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I guess there's so many challenges starting a startup. Um, One of the challenges that we have faced, and I guess are continuously facing, is that we have a passion for ocean restoration. But I guess for when you're talking with investors and um, trying to get funding to scale this technology, most investors want to see a more commercial application rather than where ocean restoration may be focused more on um, grant related contracts and stuff like that, might not have as much scalable potential, which is definitely a passion of ours. But uh, for example, we had a lot of clients that were very interested in our technology, that we were hoping to get into uh, with the Ghost Gear Fund that we were hoping to be renewed in 2024. It was kind of it was renewed the past 3 years, and we were kind of relying on that. And unfortunately, in 2024, it wasn't renewed, and it kind of gave us a realization that relying on grants can be not sustainable for business. So that's why we kind of had to set out, restart our customer discovery, and find more commercial applications. And that's kind of where we're developing into now, creating, entering the fishing market, and some of these other opportunities that I outlined today. So for those looking to start a company or pursue their passion, I really encourage you to do so. It's by no means easy, but if it's something that you love doing, then there's nothing that can stop you from making it possible. So thanks.
I think that's amazing advice. Thanks for sharing that with everyone. One of the questions we have in the chat is Augustia asked, what are the biggest challenges you've encountered in deploying your technology in real world marine environments?
Oh yeah. Uh, Thank you for that question. I didn't see the chat till now. Um, what are the biggest challenges we've encountered in deploying our technology in real world marine environments. I think one of the big challenges with deploying computer vision and AI models is that, especially when there's not a diverse data set out there and you're creating your own data set, it may have bias to the areas where you have collected that data. So when we were starting, we would go out on my grandpa's boat, which I was able to kind of purchase off him with our sonar, start collecting data of traps in the area, and we'd label this data. And when we deployed this our computer vision model in areas like the East Coast, it's a completely different bottom, completely different even trap shapes and stuff. So one challenge is to have a diverse enough data set, use techniques like augmentation to make it work in these real world diverse environments. And I think you'll find this throughout deploying computer vision models, that it's important to try to get data from the actual place that you'll be deploying, from the actual use case that will be the solution will be deployed at. So that's one of the challenges for sure. Thank you for the question. And I see Alex has, how long has it been working on both coasts? How necessary is it to have a physical presence on both? Did you have to come out here for the Bear River project? Thank you, Alex. I guess that's a great question. We work primarily on the west coast of Canada, but there's so much amazing work being done on the east coast that we couldn't say no. You guys are, I feel like, leading the charge, but we're catching up here on the west coast, I think. A lot of exciting innovation happening out here as well. I think it's pretty important to have a presence on both coasts. That's why I thought we kind of wanted to hire Kashan to our team, because he lives out there in Halifax and has the ability to meet with clients and work out there. We didn't actually go out there for the Bear River project that we collaborated on. It was more of us reaching out to different organizations, ocean restoration organizations, and First Nations to see if they are interested in the idea and would be willing to kind of do a pilot project and collaborate in any means. But if there is opportunities, I'd love to come out there. I actually have never visited the East Coast, and I'm due for a visit. So feel free to reach out with any opportunities. If you want to pilot our technology, I'd love to come out there and have I guess, an excuse to visit. And oh, I'd love to go out on the lobster boat, Alex. Thank you. And thank you as well, Agastya. I guess you said you had a follow-up question. Are there other marine applications where you see a significant opportunity? Tons. It's everywhere right now. I think in each marine application has the ability to benefit from integrating some sort of AI computation model, whether it's with computer vision or it's with just understanding your data on the boat. Because right now we're relying on the captain's understanding, and which has been used for generations. And I guess if I go back to my slides with the applications, sorry about this. There's tons of kind of applications that can benefit, and we've talked to many in these fields. I think one that's very interesting for me is whale monitoring. The work that's being done to detect and provide collision avoidance even for whales is something that's a huge problem. A lot of big parties are working on this, and there's no concrete solution for it yet. For aquaculture as well, I think there's a huge opportunity to monitor even seaweed and kelp and eelgrass with this technology. And I'm sure there's applications here that I didn't even list that could definitely benefit from the technology. We're kind of looking to get into the fishery side as well. There's a lot of work that's being done with AI and sonar to automatically detect for fish, as I think Deep Sense has done that sort of work as well, and to be able to accurately detect for fish and even classify them is very important. And I guess something that follows up my previous point is that I see that there may not be a one model fits all case. There may be the in the future the need for multiple models depending on kind of your specific need, or the ability to have to train models into the specific use case of the application. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. And if you have any follow-ups, I'd love to answer, or I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn, or shoot me an email. I'll jump back to my email slide here so you guys have that.
Have you ever found anything that's like unexpected or like unusual with the side scan sonar?
Um, there's there is objects we don't know like what we're seeing. So I would say yes, but like it's hard to tell what objects are sometimes, and you need what we do to kind of ground truth our data usually is we have um, these a downrigger ball. So they're usually called drop cams, where you send a camera
Okay.
down,
Hmm.
similar to a towfish, where you kind of send it down, and we have these lights and a GoPro camera that go on the downrigger ball and
Yeah.
kind of shine lights, and it's kind of crazy what you see under there. We once found a boat engine, like an outboard trolling motor,
Oh,
that
wow.
was like covered in stuff, and we were like, wow, anchors, all sorts of things. And I guess that's why I wanted to do this as well, is because if we could drain the ocean, it'd be a surprise to everyone how much stuff is down there, and we need to kind of treat the ocean better and have better solutions to have a sustainable ocean going into the future, because it's our biggest resource. So yeah, thank you so much for the questions. And yeah, I'd love to connect Alex and Agastya, and thank you for having me today as well, bro.
Yeah, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I know you're really busy right now, but we appreciate you coming and telling us all about such an interesting topic. And it's so great to learn more about your journey starting OceanAid and how AI is driving ocean sustainability and innovation. So before you end, I just want to let everyone know that I'm going to throw the links to our student pool and social media accounts in the chat, and as well as our STEM Connector LinkedIn. And STEM Connector is a professional development program that we have, and it provides students with the opportunity to develop skills that will be crucial to enter the workforce post-graduation. So these opportunities include everything from workshops to networking events and many more things. And if you enjoyed today's discovery session, you can join our YouTube channel, which I'll also share the link for, and you can see all of our past discovery sessions. So if you missed anything as well, you can rewatch this one. And yeah, Andrew, do you have any last words before we wrap up?
No, that's great. It was my pleasure to do this presentation today, and thank you so much for your time. And hope those who listened in learned something. And I'm sure I could learn from you too. So please connect with me.
Amazing. Well, thank you again, everyone, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully we'll see you at the next discovery session.